Inspired means, to me, leveling up. Inspired means being better. Inspired means doing better. Inspired means, what can I do to make a difference? And then, yes, will that inspire others and inspire yourself? Because I find when you inspire others, it also inspires yourself. The same way you can interchange the motivation that inspires it. When I motivate others in a good way, I also motivate myself.
Welcome back to Mic'd Up. I'm your host, Mike DiCioccio. It's been a minute since I recorded an episode. In the last month, I finally made the move to Philly to be closer to my daughter. You guys know my story, and I'm absolutely loving it so far. I love the area, but due to the move and getting situated to my new home studio that I just built, I took some time off. I'm not going to lie, though. I had the itch. I feel like, I just need to get back on the mic. Everything's been kind of put on ice for a little bit. And, I'm happy to be back in the seat. I'm happy to have a great guest with us today. And I have many more great guests scheduled before the holidays. And that's my plan. It's actually to get back into releasing episodes every Monday once again, as I did for the first 200 episodes. So, all right, let's dive into our show for today. Our guest is an energy revival coach and a consummate motivator of women's empowerment. Being broke and broken at age 57, she reinvented herself and made it her mission to turn her mess into her message. She founded the app ConfidentU to help motivate women be better, not perfect. Welcome back to the show, my first three-peat guest, the author of the #1 best-selling book, Seen and Unheard, Patricia Love.
Thank you for having me. I'm just so excited to be here. And I'm so excited to hear about kind of you taking a minute, to be honest, because I think we all have to take a minute a lot of times and decide what we want to do, how we want to do it, and everything. So I'm proud of you for taking a minute, because too many people don't, and they just get on that treadmill when it's better to just step back and go, you know what, I'm just going to chill here and focus. And then you start realizing what you really, really want.
I definitely needed the pause. I needed the deep breath, kind of the meditative moment. But then it became, and this is why, Patricia, I love that you're my guest today. My first time recording in like 3 months. And if people are wondering like, well, you had an episode come out, 2 episodes come out within the last month. I know I did. I've had a dozen or more episodes recorded, and then they were coming out weekly. And then I got to a point where I had started to do them bi-weekly. And what happened was Patricia and I actually recorded, it was like last September, I think.
Yeah.
And it was finally going to come out. And I decided, you know what? And I have a couple other guests like this too. I reached out to all of you at the same time. And I said, rather than me release something that we recorded so long ago, why don't we redo it? I'm building the new home studio, and I want to get back on the mic and start recording new content again. And going into 2025, why don't we release new stuff, fresh stuff? And it's so cool. You were like the first person who got back to me, was like, yeah, let's do it. And then, and I know this got rescheduled because normally I record on Thursdays. I usually do a few of them. And so you bumped up to Wednesday. So you snuck in. You're my first return guest, or three-peat, like I said, but also my first guest since I've taken a little bit of the break. But why I say, Patricia, that you're the perfect person to be my first guest as I start back is you're all about getting your confidence back. You're about stepping out of your comfort zone. You did mention it's important to take that deep breath, but I'm going to be honest with my audience right now. I made the move. I spent more time with my daughter. I've done all the important things. I made sure my clients didn't lose their quality time with me, and that my team didn't, and that, most importantly, I was running the business and I didn't lose a step there. But at the same time, I kind of was like hiding behind the comfort zone of being busy. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I could have recorded it from my living room or from anywhere, right? I could have just been more transparent. And I've kind of been wanting to wait for it to feel right and feel like I'm back in action. But I'm glad you're on the show, because we're going to talk about overcoming some of your fears. And something I want the audience to know, and we'll get right into this, is you guys can learn more about Patricia's You Grow, We Give mission and then download her ConfidentU app. I checked. It is listed as free, so I want you to confirm on the website. I see patricialove.com/ConfidentU app, which I'll have in the show notes clickable, and then your website, patricialove.com. So talk a little bit, I want to set this whole thing up here for you. It's a huge milestone for the show, but it's also a milestone for you. You released this app, and so what I want you to do is talk about the mission and really the why behind it. And then before I let you jump on and answer that, I just have a couple notes for the audience. I'm going to put it in the show notes and link your first episode and second episode, which was 76 and 157. So if anybody wants to kind of start with Patricia's, the beginning of her story, and then the second part, and then into this, it's episode 76 and then 157. So ConfidentU, congrats on the app. It's available
Thank
now. You. What got you thinking, I need to do this?
Well, it's interesting that you're doing this, the show, because when time passes on and we move forward, things change in our minds. Why we're doing things. We grow. We're constantly on a journey, right? We're constantly, evolving. We're constantly pushing through our fears and through our comfort zone, just like you were mentioning, when you were talking about your comfort zone, I was thinking you were doing other things to distract yourself, because it was more or less like, do I have the confidence to do this? Can I do this? And what happens is that little voice in there comes into our brain and says, you can't do that. You might as well just, stay busy, hang out with your daughter, type of thing. Anything to jump in and get involved. And I'll say that with being completely transparent, that even with my ConfidentU, I have been, and this has been a mission of mine for a long time, I have been kind of stalling it a little bit. It's up, it's running, but as far as the growth part. And I want to be really honest about that, because I think a lot of us, it comes back to, even at my age, that confidence kind of rears its like, oh, you can't do that, even though I'm a confidence coach, because that's being human, right? And, and so what I've learned from this and learning to, about my own self and my ConfidentU app that I'm doing, is that I too, every day, wonder, am I any good?
Yeah.
Do I deserve this?
It's we talk about it a lot on the show, but that what's it called? Imposter syndrome, a little bit of
imposter
you
syndrome.
absolutely know. Yeah. We absolutely know that you're capable. We know that you have the confidence in there and you've done amazing things, but even the best of the best still need that coaching moment, right? The best of the best have coaches and need reminders, and that's what I want this episode to really serve as. Is anybody who's tuning in right now, first of all, thank you for being with Patricia and I, and for this exciting episode, as I mentioned at the top of the show. But I want, think about whatever you might be holding on to that you said, I want to start this. Yeah, we got the new year rolling around, but it's a great step to start, planning it and then taking action. Like, doing the plan is great, but being decisive and taking action is the next step.
Well,
and so
yeah,
how
and
do
even
you...
the new year even has a tendency to procrastinate us.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Because there's a lot going on, and then everyone starts off with the first day off. I don't even know what the first of the year is, if it's a Monday or whatever it is this year. But if it's a business day, it's like you already start like one day off, So not everybody. I know a lot of entrepreneurs are smirking or laughing right now as they listen to that, because they're like, I don't take the first off. But but at the same time, like, there's a lot going on, and getting back from vacation with the family after Christmas, and you're kind of like a little bit stalled. Absolutely. Something I don't know enough about, and I'm actually probably going to do a solo episode on this. I'm just curious if you've heard about it. I'm writing it down here as just a reminder. A friend of mine, shout out to Paul, I just talked to earlier, Paul Makowitz. He mentioned that today is the first full day of a brand new, what's it called? Not an era, but it's the brand new age. It's the Age of Aquarius.
It's kind of the age of Aquarius. Apparently, Pluto is going into Aquarius, which is
And
it's a new change.
it started November 19th, but like
Yes,
today's the
yesterday.
20th. So it's the first kind of full day, depending on where you live in the world, of having this. So Age of Aquarius, I looked into it a little bit. We were in the Age of Aries. I had no idea, but it's like a 2,000 year period of time, which is crazy to think about. And so like literally we're starting a whole new age with 2,000 years worth or so of time in between. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to be, perfection at it, but I do know it's a reset. And it's a reset in our life. It's the letting go of old stuff and being open to new things that are coming our way. And it's more of a reset in a lot of areas. But I know enough to be dangerous about it, but I know enough to realize that it's happening. And it's so true.
Yeah, and it's like it's ancient astrology too is all tied to this. Obviously, I think is where this began. And I'm going to do research, so when I do a solo episode, I'm going to have a ton of information on it. But my buddy mentioned it, and it's so funny that today we're doing this interview. We're talking about a reset. You're talking about a reset with doing ConfidentU, the app, and that you kind of had to get out of your own comfort zone to get your confidence back. And you're doing an app about confidence. So, I mean, I just think it's not. I don't think it's by chance. I think today was meant to be.
No, I don't either. And actually, it's funny. I read a couple cards today, which I said I'm going to do this because this is the Pluto of Aquarius, moving around. I said, and both of the cards that I pulled from two different sets said, you need a reset. I'm like, what? So
you're feeling it too then? You're feeling the same energy
totally
that I had.
I'm feeling it. And it's a reset, and I'm actually open to it. I'm really open to this reset.
Same.
But I also want to, and this is what I think it's important that your listeners understand too, is that a reset can happen every day. You may have your mind on something and you want to do something, but it's okay to reset and maybe change it up or do something else if you're not maybe feeling it. Because the other things that I find out, and I know, and I will see what's going to happen with my ConfidentU app, and is it because I do want to help women and care about it, but I'm looking at it like, is this the right way to do it? Is this the way that's going to get across to people? The we give.
Can you share what the design is behind it, like who the target audience was? It sounds like you're considering maybe altering it or doing something different, but I want people to know what's out there now because it is active and they can use it. So
yeah, and here's what because there's actually a free section and there's a paid section, and I'm actually been deciding maybe I don't want to do the paid section. I don't maybe want people to have to pay for this.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to make that happen, because I was feeling like, you know what? I want every woman who is at any age, because confidence is any age an issue. But it's my main target seems to be 40 and up, and also about positive body image and just confidence as far as people getting divorced. It just seems like getting confidence back and renewing their energy type
super
thing. Because a lot of
people,
confidence a lot of times is just losing your energy, and it's shifting your energy to back to that confidence again.
I'll say this, like full transparency, I'm 38. And I'm the youngest of three siblings. My brother and sister are now both over 40. We all have kids. It's kind of like this new chapter of our life. We're parent mode now, right? And I've been since 2015. But it's, I still do things that I've enjoyed doing through my youth and everything. And I try to stay as youthful as possible. But it feels like this next decade is another transitional period. And so for even me, to be thinking like, hey, I want to make sure I'm mindful that age is just a number, but also whether it's a divorce, there's that rebirth of like your energy, and now you got to get back out on the scene. And like, I know when I went through my divorce, I didn't date anybody since 2008 is when I met my ex-wife, and we got divorced in 2017. So that was a long period of time where I wasn't out there and didn't have any game because I was in a relationship and we have a beautiful daughter together. So like, I think a lot of times people get out of a long-term relationship, marriage, or just a long-term relationship, and then they feel like, oh man, I got to do this all over again. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you've been on any dating apps yourself or anything like that, but to me, it's not my personal way that I think is going to find the one. I'm just more organic. I like to just meet someone and make someone laugh in a coffee shop or sit down and just get to know someone. But it's a struggle. Like even for myself right now, 38-year-old guy, it just feels like you go on these dating apps, you start a few conversations, they're going really well. You get either ghosted or there's drama before you even get on that first date. And it's like, man, it's very difficult. And so
I tell you, and there's a few generations, well, 2 generations, I think, between us. And it doesn't change. And dating is like a second job to me.
Yeah.
Or a third job. It's like, do I really want to go there? At this point, because I'm 73. I'm in my 73rd year. You're in your 38th year.
You amaze me because honestly, I'm not blowing smoke or being the nice host, but you really don't look. I mean, I'm looking right at you. You don't look older than.
Well, thank you.
Your 50s.
But again, here's a lot of the key to this, I find, because I even see this in my own self. And I think we learn when we are aware of our own self, right? We have to, and this is what I've learned over the years, is becoming aware of others, aware of yourself, aware of your internals, is that I find that when my energy is down, my everything is down. I'm more depressed. I'm more, don't want to do anything. I don't want to. Whereas if you can learn to realize, wait a minute, this is my energy. How can I switch my energy to make it better, quicker, and get out of this? That's when you start to move forward again. Because it's really easy to just fall into that low level energy that gets you by every day. And not that energy that's actually within you, that actually not just gets you by, but gets you forward and gets you moving and gets you excited. And it's like here's a good feeling of it. It's when you first meet somebody.
Right.
What happens? You got this zest of energy. It's an energy
natural,
that's like,
it's
oh my
natural,
God, you can
it's
stay
inevitable.
up all night. Yeah, you can stay up all night. You can do all kinds of things. I don't care how old you are. You're excited. Everything is new. It's like even that, or like a new job or a new anything. And it's always like exciting. It's when that energy level starts to slow down that we start going, what? But when you learn to be aware that your energy level, let's say that 3 times, is down, you will realize that, okay, I need to shift myself. And for me, it's taking that walk. It's putting on upbeat music. It's shifting it because I got to get myself out of that in order to move forward. Otherwise, you get stuck and you get distracted and you'll do anything so you don't have to move forward, and it's like procrastination. You just need that energy shift and revive it.
I think what's amazing, I want to jump right in, the word energy right there, circle it, put a big star next to it. The thing that's beautiful about energy is we do have control over that, right? So we can't control what somebody else does in our life, a business proposal. We cannot always control what the other party's going to do, or a spouse, how they react to a certain thing, or how our kids react to us, or how they have reactions to their friends and the principal at school, or whatever might be going. But what we can control is our energy in the moment. It's difficult sometimes because that energy can be so much. It could be balled up. It could be we spent too much energy, so now we don't have any. Like energy it's almost like if you remember like the video games where you have like an energy bar, and then if it's gone, like game over. We have energy throughout the day. It's not even just like one day to the next. It's moments throughout the day. But the beautiful thing is, and I'd love you to speak more on it, is how you can really control that energy for good. Because once you really have a good handle on it, that's what meditation is for, positive affirmations. So how do you really start to use energy in your favor?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And it really is, first off, well, and it's funny you bring up the control thing because I wrote this down. Control what you can control and let everything else go. And that's also about energy. And once you acknowledge, and I think that that's the key, one of the key words besides awareness is acknowledging, oh my God, I have low energy, or I'm procrastinating, and why is this? And start understanding yourself. And I don't mean to, you got to be like the yogi or anything like this. It's just really being in that quiet place and understanding, well, why are you feeling this way? Why do you not want to get up and go anywhere? Why do you feel distracted? Why don't I want to move forward with this app? Why don't I want to do another episode? You got to ask those questions yourself. If you can't do that, you will just be on that hamster wheel, because you have to ask those questions, and you've got to get into the habit of asking those questions rather than just laying on the couch like, oh my God, I feel so crappy. It's like, wait a minute. Why do I feel crappy? Am I sick physically, or is it mentally, or what's going on?
And the next kind of transition to that, I feel, is the word purpose. I know we talked about it on the first couple episodes as well, as really understanding your purpose. But I feel like the difference between being motivated and being inspired is big. And a lot of people use those words interchangeably, like a motivational speaker or an inspirational. But the thing is, drill sergeant can yell at somebody and say, do push-ups and do this, and you got to do this, or else, you don't want to find out what the or else is. Or, again, spouse or manager at work or anybody can give you the pressures of do this or else or whatever. And you're motivated to just get the job done. Maybe you're motivated to make money. But if you're inspired to do something great for your kids, do something great for other people in the world, do something great for yourself, I feel it's a whole different energy, right? So how do you help your people in your network find that inspiration that's already inside them? They just have to go back and unlock it.
Yeah, I actually look at them as different things. Motivation, it can be motivated by what you just talked about, fear. The fear of failing, the fear of not doing the push-ups, the fear of not being good enough. Those are motivators for a lot of people, not always to the good. Because a lot of people will motivate you in a fear way. Like, I'm going to get you to do this, and I'm going to motivate you through fear. There's something totally different than inspired. So I want people to understand that you can understand, there's different words, and words have meaning. And, and yes, I can motivate myself in a positive way also. But if you use those words intertwined, they almost get lost. Whereas motivation itself is like, okay, what is motivation? Motivation can be anything. It can be, fear, or motivation of losing weight, or I'm hungry, or what's going to motivate me. Or inspired means, to me, leveling up. Inspired means being better. Inspired means doing better. Inspired means, what can I do to make a difference? And then, yes, will that inspire others and inspire yourself? Because I find when you inspire others, it also inspires yourself. The same when you can interchange the motivation that inspires it. When I motivate others in a good way,
right,
I also motivate myself.
Like a health coach or somebody. Man, that is really powerful, because I agree. I think we talked about the word purpose and what that means. And like, I do feel that when somebody is inspiring others, it could be my daughter, it could be me getting my team inspired about some great stuff we're working on, or a client to be inspired to work with us, whatever it might be inspired to go help out. Thanksgiving's next week, to go help out, do something, in your community. You're inspired to do that. And when you see the results of other people coming together, like it's better than any gift we can get that's monetary, or any kind of possession we can have. It's this beautiful feeling when you're doing something to help others. Honestly, number one reason I do this podcast, I'm not trying to sound like I got a big head, like, oh, there's 10 million people tuning in every episode. But what I get inspired to do this is because I'll get a text message, or I'll read that's a review, or someone will send me a message on social and say, I heard your third interview with Patricia, and you guys talked about XYZ and it inspired me to do this. And when I hear stuff like that, it's like, this is why I do the show. And so when people can unlock whatever it is, I'm talking to the audience, when you guys can tune into what that is, it's a magical potion when you find your inspiration. It really is.
And I want to just add on to that, Mike, if I can, is if you look at the word, because we're bringing up the two different words, some people are going to probably like call me out on this maybe a little bit, but this is what I believe. And I think everybody has the right to believe what they want to believe, right? Inspired to me is giving, and motivation a lot of time is ego.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're trying to motivate yourself to do something, when you're inspiring others, or somebody's inspiring you, they're giving in a lot of ways. Your daughter is inspiring you by she giving of herself at doing something, and inspires you like, oh my gosh. So I kind of look at those words as an interesting way of thing, because motivation is great, but it's a lot of it talks about ourselves. I'm motivated. Let's get motivated.
If you want to be inspired, go look at a kid. And when I say kids, children, infants, little kids, they are super inspirational to us. They don't know it. They have no intention behind it, because
they have no ego yet.
They couldn't even define the word inspiration if you asked a 4-year-old. But you watch them and you see how interested they are in everything. They want to try a little bit of everything. They want to do this. They find something they love. They spend a lot of time. And it's like, as an adult, what can we learn from a little kid? The reason you have to tell a 1-year-old not to walk, near the pool is they'll jump right in the darn thing. They don't know how to swim yet. They're not afraid of anything, right? Until they hear, no, don't do that, Johnny, or don't do this, Stevie, or, don't do this, Mikey, right. Susie. And it's like, then you just kind of get all that energy. So we kind of lose that energy from a lot of times it's protecting us in a good way. Like I just said,
it's society. To be honest, it's society. When you start hanging out with your peers and people have different thoughts and feelings, that's when you lose a lot of your confidence, which we've been talking about. We lose a lot of this because we're comparing ourselves to Susie and to Johnny and stuff. And so we start to lose that unless you get a lot of that inspiration. And if you want to say motivation or communication, I think is almost a better word, but inspiration at home in a good, safe place where you can feel that confidence, which you can take with you. The problem is that a lot of kids don't have that a nurturing thing as much as they used to with all the iPhones and all the things. And what's by the way are great even at my age. I love these things, right? And but they're so in tune to that they don't have the confidence built up in them to when they go out in the world to say, no, you're different. I'm different. So that's where it's failing a little bit. But, when we go back to the energy part of it, it's all about building a good energy, a positive energy, a inspiring energy at home and within, so that when you do feel that way, and we are human, we will all feel down at times. You're not being realistic if you think you can be positive 100% a day. I can't. I know that. I mean, there's times when I'm like really positive during the day, and I go home like, oh my God, I can't say one more positive word, And so it's important that you really are willing to say when you are down, because here's the thing: nobody questions when the energy's great, right? It's all wonderful. But it's when it's down, you feel like, oh my God, I shouldn't be acting like this. I shouldn't be this way. This is when you got to ask yourself those questions. Why am I feeling this way? And break those feelings down. You'll suddenly find out, like, where did this come from? What did somebody say to me that made me feel bad and insecure and unconfident? What is it? And once you start realizing where some of these things are coming from, you're like, So once you have allowed that to come out, you go like, if you hear that word again or something, you'll go, oh no, I get it. You're not going to get me this time. So it's really when you learn about yourself and your own personal energy, because all of our energies are different. I mean, I can talk to somebody and I don't understand why they aren't, more animated, right? At times.
Yeah.
Yet it doesn't mean they're low energy. It just means they're not animated like I am. And so we have to understand that not everybody's like me. So it's kind of like you have to say, now, why is that person that way? Why did she make me feel that way?
Yeah. We're all wired a little bit
And
differently.
once you learn that though, and understand that, it's not even understanding it. It's reminding yourself to ask yourself the questions. Why do I feel this way? And if I am feeling this way, how do I get out of it?
That's great. Something too, talking about energy. I mentioned this on a couple episodes recently, recent releases. I forget exactly which, who the guest was that we were talking about. It may have been all the way back when we did our interview too. Do you remember talking about a Japanese scientist who did the water testing? Did we talk about that? I'm sure you've seen this.
I didn't talk about it. I have a feeling you might have talked about it for some reason.
Yeah, I want to make a note and to remember to put this in the show notes so people can check it out. I don't have the guy's name in front of me, but basically what he did was a water test, crystals, right? And so when there was positive energy, affirmation, going up to the water and literally giving it signs of love and energy of love. And this is real.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah.
Okay. So the energy of somebody can crystallize. I don't know if they froze the water or what they did, but basically it's like little snowflakes, a little crystal on the top, see the water. And when there's positive and inspiring and, this positive energy into it, it looks like this beautiful, snowflake image that you can picture. You hang it on your Christmas tree, right? And then when you go up to it and you're negative energy and you're talking down to it and you're just being mean and dark and you feel anger, you can't, I don't think it's just say the words. When you feel it, that's where your energy is transferred from you to the water. It's brown and it's dark and it's black and it's twisted and it looks ugly. And I mean, when I saw that was a huge eye opener for me that like, this isn't woo woo. Like you and I aren't talking about something like, oh yeah, be inspired and feel energy and haha. No, this is real.
Woo-woo at all.
Our bodies are, guess what? Made up of 70% of water. What do you think our bodies are doing when we're getting all this negative energy?
We're all energy too. We're nothing but energy in most cases too.
Right. So like you just said, huge takeaway, huge thing to circle and note is when you notice it, it's like, don't let that rope go super, super, super long until you pull yourself back. Say, get over here.
Yeah.
You've been negative for a couple days or whatever. You're kind of down in the dumps or you're refusing to just go out there and do your podcasts, or you've been talking about writing that next chapter in your book and you keep getting off of it because you're afraid of something, or you really reel yourself in and then you just say, why am I feeling like this? Because it's important to dig that out, right?
It's a great question to ask yourself. If you don't ask yourself that, you will continue on the same way. And then you might come out of it and then you'll hit back again and you'll go like, why am I just must be depressed. But why?
Yeah, cyclical, right?
It's a total circle. And I want to just, this is something that most people can totally understand if they can't get the whole water thing or talking to plants, because even if you talk to plants, it'll make them grow too a lot of ways.
Yeah,
but
energy.
I know everybody has felt this. And it's when you walk into a room and you're a bunch of people and you may be talking to, like maybe there's a group and all of a sudden you feel a negative energy. Everybody has felt this. A lot of people don't pay attention.
Someone walks in the room and you could basically hear the Darth Vader theme music, even though it's not playing, but the person's in the room now.
Exactly. And people don't pay attention enough to this stuff, but it's real. And that's when and there's other people you'll talk to, you just feel good about. And there's a good energy. So by understanding that good and bad energy and knowing where yours is coming from, it also helps you to actually navigate the world better, because then you start realizing, ooh, that person is toxic. I think I'll move backwards. Oh, right. That person's got a good energy. I think I'll move forward until they show other signs or whatever. But if you just pay attention and are aware, you will change your life just in realizing the different energies and when to go and when to back off.
1000%. Somebody said, be the person, and I forget who my guest was, and I apologize, but it was a long time ago. They said, be the person that when somebody's phone rings and they see your name pop up, they're excited to take the call. You just said it. be the person that when you walk in a room, everybody lights up even brighter. You're the one that brightens their day. And it's very much like, I don't know what else other analogy you want to use, but once that person who's in darkness, who's the negative energy person, touches you, I don't know. There's a visual I'm trying to remember what it's from. Is it maybe the movie Inside Out, where they have all the different feelings, good, bad feeling, and like,
yeah.
Can they change one? Right. Like if the wrong person touches one, I'm forgetting right now. But
right.
Basically, like if a negative energy touches someone with the positive energy, they start to tarnish that, and it starts to turn. And it's so true. Like who you hang out with, the whole thing about the 5 people. Show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you where you're going to be in 5 years. That's why that's just the quickest way to say it. You know, it's your environment, but what is environment? It's energy. It's people. It's things.
It's people. It's things. It's things that make you happy. My cat just lays around and sleeps, but she can smile. I look at her and she makes me smile. So she's pulsating some kind of energy. And it's like your daughter. She might be just playing in the other room, but you just turn and go. There's an energy, a good energy, and I think you just need to feel that and acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is
find things too, right? Find things that you enjoy doing that bring you positive energy. Doing this show is one of them for me. There's many things I do that I get positive energy from, but anyone tuning in, like find your thing that can, first of all,
do what you love.
Do what you love.
Do what you love.
Do what you love, number one, but also you start to put up a little bit of a defensive shield against people who have the negative energy. And like, once you see it, once you can kind of sniff it out, don't hang with it long. Like, don't be disrespectful and say, F you, I don't want to talk to you because you got bad energy. But maybe you do have to say it. Maybe it's a sibling or someone at work that's just giving you shit. And you're like, I don't want to talk to you right now because your energy level ain't matching mine. I'm out. And maybe you do need to say that. But for the most part, you just kind of get out of there.
I've had clients that say, well, it's my family. How do I get out of that? And and my question is like, you know what? We all have family members that maybe we don't, just because we were born into the family doesn't mean we naturally get along with everybody. And I tell them, I said, look, if it's causing you stress and negative energy, you don't have to not see them. You just have to back away periodically. Maybe don't make it an everyday occurrence. Or
limit the time.
This really works. Is I have an ex-husband that sometimes drives me absolutely crazy. But what I do is before I see that person, I actually manually, physically, or feel like I'm doing it, I put like a big bubble and zip up the bubble. And like every negative word's going to just bounce off me because I'm just, so I acknowledge that bubble around me. Like, okay, I'm not going to let anything bother me today because we control that. It's an emotion that we control. Like we said, if we can control it.
You're protecting your positive energy. Like you're putting it's a sacred place. And so you don't want that person to get that fingerprint on you and turn it black. You want to stay in the bright.
But sometimes they step in your way, and that's life. That's life. But again, acknowledging that person is a negative person will make you more aware to either not engage on a daily basis. Maybe you engage like, hey, I got many things going on. So because you have the right to reserve and preserve your own energy. And that's kind of critical for your own life.
Yeah. It's really important to treat it that way. It's really, it's something that we do need to protect. And like, if there's one takeaway, I think from our conversation so far, it's a great reminder for myself, but to protect our energy, man, it's like so important. And I can think of people, you talked about your ex, how you have to put that bubble on, but I have similar, people that you kind of have to do that same thing. And I encourage anybody who is tuning in right now, figure out what that looks like for you, because and even if they get in there, because some people are going to, maybe they're a narcissist or whatever, and they're trying, that's their goal, is to try to get it under that layer, that protective layer. So they do, and now you feel kind of down and they got to you. But what did we talk about earlier? Once you realize it, you can then ask yourself, why do I feel like this?
And why do I let him get to me? Why do I let that person get under my skin? Why? And the more you ask those questions, why, and go deeper into that, and you don't have to go layer after layer all the time until you're ready. But the more you do that, the more you go, like, wait a minute, I'm allowing him to do that. And I don't, why? Why am I allowing him?
Why am I giving, you're giving them the power.
Give him the power.
Don't
That's
empower
right.
people that don't deserve your time and energy. Yeah.
That's what they say is take your power back. And, you don't need to be a jerk about anything. You just need to take your own power back and, disengage with those kinds of people or lessen your engagement if it's family members.
Yeah. I like that visual you said. Just put the bubble, zip it up tight.
It works. I sometimes step into this bubble and this big plastic bubble. And especially if I know I'm going to go to like an event that I know I'm going to hit some negative stuff. And I like just literally zip it up over my head. Like, okay, nothing can really, it's going to just bounce off me.
Then you get home, you unzip it and it's you and your cat.
And I throw it away because I don't need it anymore because it's contaminated.
Right. It's like, throw it in the wash machine. Something I want to do is, what just fell over? I love this. This is again on purpose right here. This coin says, I am enough. All right. So I am enough and never give up. And what a great episode for that to.
Yes, it was reminding you of that.
It was jumping out saying, remember, you are enough. And so once you realize that you're enough, you realize I'm going to protect my energy because I don't want somebody else to come and take that away from me.
That's right.
What I want to do real quick is just give some love to our sponsors. Number one is Social Chameleon, my company, socialchameleon.us. Transform your podcast. So if you want your podcast to sound great, look great, get it up on YouTube, cut it into social media content. If you want people helping you book your guests, find guests for you, do all the white glove service, socialchameleon.us. Transform your podcast. And then also Navigator Bookkeeping. Go to navigatingyourbooks.com. Nate and his team over at Navigator Bookkeeping are phenomenal. I've been using them, I think, since 2021. Couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years now. And the reason that I continue to renew with them is he's phenomenal. Well, I meet with Nate once a month. He goes through my books. And I am someone who likes that stuff to be kind of, you handle it and we'll talk about it. I don't like to be dealing with it every day because it takes me, it's the energy thing that we're talking about here with your business. And it's important for you to know the numbers. But if it's good, you get this false energy of everything's rah-rah. And then if it's maybe at a bad month, you don't want that to waste your time. So having Navigator Bookkeeping take care of that for me. Absolutely love them over there. So shout out. And then I also want to mention, we're using Riverside to record this podcast episode right now virtually. I was going to say Buffalo, New York, but I cannot say that anymore. I'm in Philly. And that's awesome. And Patricia, you're in Seattle, but you're actually in the water because you're recording this from a boat right now.
I'm on a new boat. I actually got a new boat this summer. I sold my other one and moved on to a bigger one.
Congratulations. That's incredible. I just love the idea of being on the water. You can go if you want. You can do whatever you want. And it's just, you're like more one with the sun, if you will.
One with it grounds me because I'm a water girl. So it really grounds me to when I get up and look at the water all around me. It's like taking a breath of fresh air every morning.
I love being on the water. Yeah, I couldn't imagine like literally living on it. That's cool.
Living in the water where the splashes around at nighttime.
Yeah. Congratulations on the new boat. And I also just want to remind people that we are doing this virtually from across the country. So if there's any technical issues or delays or whatnot, thank you for your grace.
I know. Because Seattle had the big cyclone thing yesterday where trees are down. Half of the city down. is half the whole east side is out of power for a couple of days. I lucked out. Nothing. Just had a little flicker. That was it.
That's great. Yeah. Hey, speaking of power being down, what advice would you give to someone who's tuning in right now, but they're struggling to find their power? I just said, I am enough. They're struggling to find their worth. So we talked about energy. I think that's part of it. But now they're having a hard time just getting there. They're just having a hard time turning that switch on. Yeah.
And first thing I'll have to say, though, is, and I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to reiterate it because I think the more you talk about it, the more people will listen. But it really is acknowledging that you're saying you don't have any power. Acknowledge the fact Why am I feel powerless? Why do I feel like I have no power? Why? I mean, it's really an important question, and being aware of your internal feelings is important. So once you are aware of that and realize like, "Oh, I just need to take my power back," and again, just that sentence, write it down, put it someplace. I'm taking my blanket power back, or whatever you want to say, whatever makes you feel good, and put it someplace like, because what that is it's going to make you feel good and make you, when you go into situations, you're going to feel more confident and more strong because I'm taking my power. I'm not going to let other people tell me what my power is or take my power away from me. I have control of my power. And I think the more you can say that to yourself, the more confident you will build. The things you can do to shift that are, and again, they seem small and maybe like, yeah, right, that won't work. But, honestly, is going into the bathroom and smiling at yourself.
Yeah.
Little teeny thing. And it's really hard to do. This is not easy to do. Because smiling, because at first you're smiling all fake. You're, and then you feel stupid and like, why, first off, if you're in the bathroom by yourself, no one's looking anyway, except yourself looking back at you. Okay.
Right.
And smile at yourself. And the more you can do that, the better you feel. When you smile, it actually gives you instant boost of happiness. It's a well-known scientific fact. It will help you. And faking it till you make it is true. It's until you actually feel it. But the other thing is just really shifting your energy. And that is, again, looking at things and that make, or doing things that make you happy. That's taking your power back. It's shifting your power. It's like taking getting up and dancing to "I Feel Good" by James Brown, or if you like to garden, get out there and get your fingers dirty. Or my cat inspires me and makes me change my energy all the time, and she just does funny things, and that and it makes me feel like I'm doing something for somebody else. So you probably look at your daughter and go, "I've got to take my power back for her."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have
100%.
give yourself a reason to take your power back, because most of the time when we feel we're lacking of power is because we feel like we gave it away, right? And when we feel that way, it's like, okay, so who do you think took your power? I mean, again, it's asking those questions. Who took that power from you? Did you just give it away like what the heck of it? Or, or did, someone like take it away like you got divorced and they made you feel like, crap. And so you feel like they took the power. That's when you say, nobody took their power. I still have it. I never lost it. It's just been stagnant.
And even if they did, we have an infinite amount to recreate.
They'd recreate it.
Someone
even
took
more.
your energy and they went on. They're gone.
That's right.
Now you recreate it.
To them. Yeah, give it to them and say, look, you know what? Great. I just rebuild my own energy, because it's endless. Energy is endless. It grows constantly all the time.
Preach, sister, preach.
I know, right? But take that back and just acknowledging this, like, you know what? I have the power. And you've got to take control of you, because you can control that. It's the things that we can't control you got to let go. But the things we control are our emotions, our thoughts, our powers, and all of that is power. Our thoughts, our energy, all of that is power within. And it's like telling yourself, you know what? I'm taking my power back. In fact, I'm going to build it back so damn big, it's going to be amazing. And you got to say that stuff to yourself, because you have the power. You have it.
And so now someone's listening.
One of my favorite things, one of my favorite things is by the Wizard of Oz, and I have it up in this thing, is if you've always had the power, my dear, you just had to look within. It's by the Wizard of Oz. I love this saying and quote, you've always had the power, my dear.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there, and you can activate it at any time. So advice now to women, men tuning in, they're struggling to share their story. Right. So that's another layer of this. Once it takes a level of confidence, it takes a level of sitting there and understanding the why things have happened, and try to turn it from why me to this happened for me. Once you get to that point, it took me a long time
to have the courage to do this.
Yeah, to get on a microphone and get on a podcast, write a book, put out an app, put yourself on social media. So they're going through, it could be painful, right? They feel shackled by it. And they need to be set free, really, is the best way I could put it. What would you like to share to them?
Again, it takes time. First off, everything happens in baby steps. So I don't care. You may have a burst of confidence one day and you're like, and you do one great show and you're all excited, and then the next time it's like, I don't want to do this. It really is just taking baby steps and say, you know what, I can do this today. I can do this today. I can handle it. I may not be the greatest, but I started. And it's because we all have to realize we start someplace, whether it's writing a book, it's building a podcast, it's building a Confident app, it's helping women, it's helping doing whatever you want to do, helping animals. All of it takes time to get good at it or feel good about what you're doing. And, and even then, I think we all are trying to do our best. And that's all you can ask for. There is no perfection. So you got to get that out of your mind. There's no perfection. I'm just going to do my best today.
You know what, Patricia, what I'm thinking of right now as you say that is every expert, every one of one in the world, Michelangelo for art, Michael Jordan for basketball, Tom Brady for football, whatever it is your thing that you enjoy, right? Everybody who is great at what they're doing, they took a first step. They took a first step. Every
Baby
single
step.
person who's great at what they do, they've taken a first step. And then they continue to take step 2, 3, 4, 5 and build on it. But the other thing about, I thought about when you just said that too, is, they're struggling to share their story. But if you try to motivate someone to do it, energy is the wrong energy, right? But the inspiration that can allow someone to be more comfortable and confident in sharing their story, in my opinion, is you remind them that somebody else hearing your story
needs to hear it.
It can help them. And it's going to bring them from where they are now to one step further in the right direction. And that's actually when I started to open up more on this show, because in the beginning of Mic'd Up, I kind of got out of the way. I didn't really talk about my personal stuff at all. And then once I started to have conversations with great people like you, I'm like, man, I got to get more authentic and just start sharing and vulnerable. And it's like, oh, guys don't want to get vulnerable. And so I had the kind of that mask of masculinity.
Yep.
I think that's exactly what we talked about last time, if I remember. We talked about wearing masks and breaking free of it. And so when someone is afraid to share their story, they're actually doing a disservice to themselves. But more importantly, they're doing a disservice to everyone who can learn from that journey.
And you have to look at it as, here's the thing, is that everybody, when you're going through anything and you want to share a story, we always think we're the only one going through it. Okay?
Right,
We forget that 50% of the world gets divorced, and there's trauma every place, but everybody's story is a little bit different. And what's cool about it is you think, well, everybody else is talking about that already, or that's, been done so many times. But here's the difference. They haven't heard it from you.
Yeah, tell your
story. It might be just that one person that, it's like there's many Tony Robbins, right? Different, motivators. There's different people out there. There's speakers, motivational speakers. And I can listen to 20 of them and they might be saying exactly the same thing, but only one does make me take action.
So true.
So you might be that one that helps somebody else take that action because you've inspired them, because it was from your voice, because we are all different. None of us are the same. We say things differently, and that's great. That's what we need in this world.
Mic drop moment right there. That's a mic drop moment.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's so important. The you, confident you, right? The you in your story. And you're the one that it's going to resonate. It's so true. Some people kind of, they have the right idea, but they can be a turnoff. The style, they're too aggressive. They're too passive. It's like with podcasts. The reason people tune into, usually everybody has a handful that they're going to tune into within a given period of time in their life. And then they start to like, oh, this one's kind of not really serving me anymore. Let me move this one into the rotation. And now you like that. It's like that with music. You see a lot of my favorite bands on the wall behind me with their records hanging. So Like there's you go through a period of time, you listen to more Zeppelin over here, or the Chili Peppers, or the Beatles. You have like the periods of time when certain things resonate with you. And so you need, get your story out there because people need to hear it from you through your experience.
Yeah. And again, if you're afraid, it's okay. I guess I always want to make sure that people understand that just because we're here sitting talking about it, I was afraid. I'm afraid every day sometimes, and it's just reminding myself to ask those questions. Why are you afraid? What are you afraid of? You're okay.
I had a lot of nerves going into this because, like I said, I haven't recorded in a little while. But once we started, within the first 2 minutes, I was like back. I was on the horse again. I was jumping
exactly,
through the
exactly.
the course.
So I want your listeners and your people, your audience, to really understand that we're all, in so many ways, the same. And we're just all wanting to learn. We're just at different steps in our life. We're at different levels. They're not even levels. We're at different places. I've been around 72, 73 years. I've learned a lot, but that doesn't mean I've learned everything. I'm still learning. So
that's a beautiful way to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And the more you open you can be, and this is what I believe about, because a lot of people are afraid of aging, right? And we'll just, kind of talk about for 1 second here is being that I am aging. Okay. I've always embraced aging. I've always embraced it because I always knew that there was not a darn thing I could do about it, really. In reality, it'd be either that or the alternative was to be dead. And I really didn't want to do that. So it was like, if you embrace it and enjoy it, then your energy levels are better. Everything is better. You will act and look more youthful because you will have a more energetic way about you. The only reason I think a lot of people say, well, you're younger than you look, it's just an energy. It's a total energy.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand that no matter what you're doing, is just be aware and acknowledge, and you're going to be right on the right track. Just take one baby step at a time.
Yeah, choose a perspective you want to look at it. Like, oh man, I just had my 60th birthday. Or like I was talking about my 40s freaking me out, but like I can look at it. I do believe this. On my 40th birthday, I'm going to be the healthiest I've ever been in my adult life because I've actually been working out. I've been doing new exercises from home. I go to the gym now. I've been watching everything. I have an app on my phone. I track every calorie, every macro. I'm really into it. And I feel great. I feel energized. It's exciting. It's inspiring. And like, give me 2 more years and we'll see where I'm at. But I guarantee I'm going to probably on my 40th birthday.
You're going to be a lot better off. You may not be perfect because none of us are perfect, right? No matter
but I'm going to be healthier. I believe this. On my 40th birthday, I feel I'm going to be healthier than on my 30th birthday. So my 40s could be my best. And I just said could, and I don't like that word. And I don't like the word should. Someone told me one time, they were very wise. They said, don't should on yourself.
Don't should on yourself.
But my 40s, I can make better than my 30s. And they will be because I'm choosing to have the energy that we're controlling. We have control over. Making choices to make it the best decade. And then my 50s could be the next best decade. And you keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, you can choose to make every day a good day too. It's a choice you make when you get up and wake up in the morning. Am I going to choose to make this a good day? Yes, I am. And the other thing I want to say is one again. I think I've repeated this before on your podcast, but one of my favorite quotes is Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
It's changing your perspective. Instead of looking at the flower down and look at the bloom. Look at underneath, get down into the ground and watching it grow. I mean, just changing the perspective of how you look at things makes a big difference. And that's another question I ask myself. How can I look at this in a different way? Mm-hmm. Especially when you're stumped.
I got one more for you before you run. I know we've been going for like about an hour or so, I think, right? So
it's all good. We go for a long time.
We could talk. Yeah, that's one thing. You and I are not afraid to share because we've broken through the barrier. We've dealt with our moments of being a little bit more shy. I was a shy kid. When I was a little kid, when I was my daughter's age and younger, I was very shy. hide in the
I'm,
background.
I'm
and
technically
then
still an introvert. I'm
and
still
then
an introvert. You should
yeah, I
realize
got a
that.
lot of introversion too. But then there's certain, by middle school, I was getting written on every report card, talks too much, too much energy, needs to chill out for a second, right? And so it just was weird. I broke through that, and then here I am talking on a microphone in front of the world. So whoever wants to tune in, thank you guys for being with us. I got one more for you, Patricia. If you could do anything differently, or you can double down on anything in your journey, what would it be and why?
Wow, if I could do anything differently.
Yeah, or double down, like meaning if there's something you did you're very proud of and you would do it, again, what would that be?
I guess the only thing different that I would do is that I probably would just say, I think everything works out the way it's supposed to work out and the timing is. But if I could go back in time, I would probably say I would take my power back sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When did that happen for you? Was there a moment you remember?
57. It was 57 when I took my power back.
That's when.
Yeah.
And guys, if you want to know what you're talking about here, the first 2 episodes, we got into the detail on that. So I just tell people to go back and check out the first 2 episodes because you shared the inspiration behind your book, which there was some really dark moments in there, and I appreciate you sharing them on there.
There's some dark moments, but I also never took control of my own power. I allowed other people to take control of it. And so I think that would be the only thing that would double down. But on the good side, it might not be in the same place talking to you if I'd done it earlier. So who knows? I think I still believe our paths are, they're not destined. We can change them, but we make choices. And
and it feels great when they connect. When we connect with the right people. I had a great time
when I was younger too, though. So
yeah, well, that's great. That is great. But I'm sure, and I know what you mean, is that sometimes maybe you're having too much fun with certain things that you had to learn from or whatever, right? So that is all wisdom. This was a episode packed full of great wisdom, and I thank you for being on the show again. 3-peat, we'll celebrate that. And I just want to remind everybody, I don't do this show to talk at you. My guests don't come on the show to talk at you. We really want this to be more conversational. So I'm going to remind everybody, again, comment on YouTube or throw us a message if you're tuning in on Apple and put it in, give us a review and let us know what you love about the show or what you actually wish we did differently. If there's something we could do differently, I want to know about it. And on social media, be social, right? Don't just go and view it or click on it, but actually be social. Let me know what you like, dislike, or again, things that you have ideas for the show. Maybe it's a guest you want me to know about. And send my way. So comment, subscribe, and that's going to help us keep you up to date with the latest and the greatest. And there's that word, great again. You know what I'm going to tell you? I end every episode with this. Be great and be grateful. And Patricia, I'm so grateful to have you as a friend, someone in my network that I'm connected to, and an amazing guest on Mic'd Up. Thank you so much. Any last words you want to get out to the audience?
No, except for congratulations on your move. I know this has been a big deal for you for several years, and also I do have just for anybody who is interested, I do have some short YouTube videos under the channel Patricia Love, Tough Love, and it's just some short little kind of tough love sayings or thoughts that I have on Thursday thoughts that I throw out at people. So if have any interest, feel free to subscribe.
Yeah, your YouTube channel and all your social is going to be in the show notes for everybody to check out. You are the best. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.
Keep on moving on.